Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. We're going to take another look here at Solana double check. This is actually very, very good news. I'm not trying to get you too hyped up, but I can tell you Solana is one of the very few coins that is actually double bottomed here instead of dropping its complete bottom and just getting utterly destroyed. So this is actually good news. That level of 120, 121 held very strong. We can see that's a previous support range too, where the price action has had a lot of difficulty getting past. So again, the more often you test something, the more likely it is to break. You got to keep that in mind, but this double bottom here does look like it wants to play out and more likely to continue further up, pending Bitcoin doesn't go any lower. I think Bitcoin is starting to find its bottom, that 54 to 55,000 range. A lot of volume adding in there now that traditional markets are open and regular traders are saying, no more selling. We're going to buy this stuff here, right? Okay, so same thing with Solana. So we're going to double check a few things here. Really quick back-end data first and kind of go from there. I do want to say congrats to our community members. While we didn't have a ton of shorts, we were able to capitalize on our QNT short position 51% in roughly one trading day there. So we caught every single profit target. It was nice to get that. Just kind of as a hedge against any kind of longs that we had recently that weren't working out very well, because as you can tell, we had like the largest amount of liquidation in well, what, 2 years now? What was it? If I'm not mistaken, it was what? FTX was the last time we had liquidation event this massive. And this was not, there was no fundamental catalyst this time. That's the funny thing about it. It was just a holiday and, you know, non-US markets basically taking full advantage. Obviously, led into it, there's a lot of like, Mt. Gox and, German government, essentially. There's a lot of different things, that obviously some fundamentals, but that led the price to pull back, right? Having said all that, regards to that stuff here, we're here for the technical analysis, and let's look at the back-end data here for Solana. So quickly to note, we can kind of see that majority liquidation levels have been swept to the downside, at least in the last 7 days. We do take a look at the monthly, same thing as well. There's nothing left below, minus some late longs here, which is perfectly normal, right? It's normal to see late longs at this point because of the fact that the price action pulled back so hard and it bounced off that level, roughly $120, okay? So again, that's a really good sign here. Overall, Solana's looking pretty strong on the back end there for less incentive for the price action to pull back. In fact, let's quickly look though. There are some liquidation levels here, almost about $1 billion between 136 and 137, okay? And you can kind of see that reflected here. These are some late shorts here that shorted the most recent top with success, and they're still holding for some crazy reason, okay? So again, we have some liquidation at that 136, 137 mark. And just keep in mind, to put that in perspective, that's right here in this range, okay? All right, so just a heads up, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's go ahead and do this here. Let's go ahead and look at our daily time frame, work our way down, kind of see what's going on here. We will look at the weekly time frame later this weekend, as a matter of fact, once we get the candlestick closure. But so far today, look how strong this is compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, 4 strong red days. Solana, only 2 strong red days, followed by a nice green 4th day here. Okay, so again, this is a very good sign. Ultimately, got a lot of volume coming in there as well. And this little green range that I have, this was a previous, if we zoom out here, that was basically the volume profile for the highs and lows essentially. And we can kind of see it's starting to spread out a little bit, but generally speaking, we're right within that. Okay, so again, as per usual, 130 is that lower range of support. If we close at 130 or higher, I would say send it. And then of course, 145 is that upper range. So you want to probably consider securing profits between 145 and 130, depending on the direction you're heading, right? That's just generally how that works. So keep that in mind. We can even extend this up a little bit because we can kind of see that there is it's now about 147 is the upper range there, okay? So 130 to 147 is that little range that we can expect the price action to kind of work itself within. Again, it's just based on volume. It's nothing super, definitive. It doesn't mean like you can't still have success out of those ranges. It just implies that we got, some resistance at 147, likely support at 130. We can see that 129, 130 level tentatively holding pretty much. I mean, we got a daily candlestick closure at 128. It's not bad. All right, so having said all of that here, we take a look. We're still under 50 on the RSI, generally unfavorable to try to long into that. But again, this has been kind of all over the place, so it's not the best barometer. We can see stochastic is swinging down still. That's pretty obvious par for the course. We may have an MACD FU on our hands, but this is generally letting us know that momentum is shifting. So keep in mind, Solana could very well continue lower, right? We can kind of see here there's somewhat of a trend line forming where the price action is working its way down. Again, this is a very loose, rough estimate, but at this point here, the overall sentiment is still down. Until we break free from that, we can kind of presume it's going to continue. All right, so double bottoms are nice, don't get me wrong, but again, breaking free from a descending trend line is even better. And we do take a look at this here. We got some moving averages above the price action. We're going to be facing the 200 and the 20 here soon at that roughly 136 to 138 mark. So it makes sense as there's liquidation right at that 200-day SMA, right? So keep in mind, if you do take a long with Solana right now, you keep it tight, adjust your stop loss higher as you proceed, and just make sure that you are working within your own risk tolerance, and just take ownership of that too. A lot of folks, unfortunately, will they'll blame others for their lack of success, when truth is, at the end of the day, this is your job. It's your due diligence is to do what I'm doing here for yourself. So again, I just try to like to kind of shed some light on things. I like to educate people in the process, because I know this is never an exact science. I get things wrong all the time, trust me on that. But again, for the most part, I get things right more often than I get them wrong, right? And when those things happen, that's what you want to do. You want to stack it in your favor and adjust your risk tolerance accordingly. Having said all that, we are still below all moving averages. We can see the 200 working itself on its way down with this descending trend line. All the more reason why being over the 200-day SMA on the 4 hour is extremely important. We're not out of the woods completely yet. In fact, if you can kind of see, this is what happens in the market a lot lately. You got these bullish confirming factors giving us false positives all the time. So until Bitcoin can pull its head successfully from its ass, break over the 20 and the 200-day SMA, and break its descending trend line, there's no reason for us to presume this will discontinue. Okay, these are shenanigans. These are things that happen consistently in the market, and it's all about greed with people that have billions and or trillions of dollars. It's just nonsense. Having said all that, we look at this here, the 4 hour time frame. If we look at the lower levels here, effectively, we're still under 50 on the RSI. So we haven't broken bullish, trying to get too extreme. And when I said send it earlier, I'm referring to like tight targets, like 133 to 136, for example. Because again, those are liquidation levels. You can work within those ranges, but just going long to 200 right now doesn't make a ton of sense, okay? That's not what I'm ever presuming to say, or you should never presume that's what I mean by what I say. Other than that, we got MACD trying to converge, stochastic swinging up this natural little swing back up. We take a look at TD sequential, we were massively overextended to the downside, had that extra little greed candle, and the price pulling back up again. Okay, so again, if you use low leverage, you can survive a majority of these things. Yesterday was, I wouldn't say an anomaly, but it's less common for that to happen. We should have bounced yesterday, but we didn't. And again, it was just a perfect storm of crazy nonsensical sell-off, and then of course a holiday where there was no traditional markets to kind of back up that price action. So a lot of those things kind of factored in. Either way you look at it here, I'm still under the presumption that we're going to reject off this trend line if Solana continues further up. So I would say safe to presume that the price action will kind of come up to this 0.382 fib level and reject. In fact, we can update our fibs here, and that would become 0.618 rather, just to kind of get it a little more precise. But yeah, this 142 to 147 range, we're going to see some resistance here, both based on volume, but also just natural fib levels here that are commonly retraced to. All right, so let's take a look at the hourly and wrap it up. If we look at Ichimoku Cloud, this is going to be the same with all coins. Ichimoku Cloud is going to let us know that we have no reason to consider a long position yet. However, the lagging span is intersecting. That tells us if you have a short position open, you should have secured profits. If you're one of these guys right here that is in profit because you shorted at 136, why the hell are you still holding? It's just crazy to me. Again, I get it. There's greed, a lot of things here. A lot of people try to short as far as they can. But for right now, Bitcoin's found its tentative bottom. I'm not saying the bottom's truly in, but it seems to be going sideways for the day instead of going straight down, right? If that continues here, Solana will probably recover and continue to break through this more recent volume profile at 134, trend towards 136 to break that resistance level, and then of course to come up here to retest the 0.618, 0.786 fib levels. Either way you look at it here, we are still not quite out of the woods yet. So in 24 hours, if Solana goes sideways and closes at 134, 135 or higher, then I would say that it's a solid consideration to take along with more confidence. Right now, it's still very premature in my personal opinion. We're not above these specific moving averages. Conversion line is still below the baseline. There's a lot of reasons why, like being a conservative trader or just using this conservative indicator lets us know that we shouldn't take a trade right now. Because again, you're gonna be taking a trade without confidence. So if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're swing trading, you want to have a little bit more confluence, and it's important to recognize that confirmation is extremely important. But not to say you can have success right now as a day trader. I would say long to 136 is very probable, specifically because of all this liquidation in that range, right? Again, just some food for thought there. Me personally, as a swing trader, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer, see where we're at here with the daily candlestick closure for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can close at 56K or higher, I think we're going to be in solid shape. Not to say that we won't if that doesn't happen. It's just that 56K is the new resistance based on that previous liquidation event. And there's a solid chance that we could see coins like Solana pull back again. So just don't be mindlessly taking long positions right now just because it's the bottom. I think that little buying the dip opportunity is already expired, and we need to wait a little bit longer for full loan confirmation. I hope you learned something today. Thanks again so much for watching. Don't forget to join us on Twitter, Telegram, YouTube, TikTok, Discord, whatever medium works best for you. And ultimately, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link down below. We're going to continue to secure some nice profits, but we're just being patient here, folks. We're adjusting our strategy, and we're calibrating with the market because the market is consistently shifting. You're not doing that for yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice. So always stay vigilant, folks. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you again in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.